back. This is Kevin back here at Wagons Garage. As we said in the last video, we're going to start on the coupe this week. And we've already got started here. We're going to show you some of the stuff we're going to be going through and what we're doing with it. And we'll show you some videos and stop and go a little more in depth on this car because we actually like it. So anyway, I'm going to show you basically what we've got here at first, and then we'll go through and start telling you what we're going to change, what we're going to do for this coming spring. We're only a couple weeks away, so not sure if we're going to get through our whole list over there or not, but we're going to see how far we can get and what we can get done. So anyway, as we go here, first thing we started on, and an issue that we had last year was this car would go down track, launch, come out of the gate really good, and then it would set the front tires back down, and then it would just go into tire shake or just tire spin in general. And what I had was, this is an Art Morrison front suspension, and we just put it in as recommended, and we never really paid attention to travels or nothing on it. And once we got looking at the travels, we only had an inch and 3/4 travel up before it topped the shock out. And we think it just wasn't getting enough weight transfer down track. But we could also run into problems on the starting line with wheel stand, because we've had wheel stand issues too. So we're going to try this here and see how it works. But we went ahead, we're running the Avco shock and the Av coil on it on the front, and fully adjustable dual up and down rebound and compression adjustments on it. We have the same thing over here with a Viking shock, but we went with a longer stroke. We cut the old mounts off. Got new mounts made yesterday thanks to Derek Bivens and Bivens Race Cars. He cut those out on his new plasma table. If you guys need anything cut out, look him up. Hell of a job. Love the way they turned out. Fit right in there the way we wanted. But anyway, so now as you can sit back and look, we've got closer to 5 inches of travel in the front suspension, which we think will really help this car going down track. So we'll shut the noisy air compressor off first. That's where we're starting with. We're hoping that'll make a big difference for this year. What we've got going on farther is we're going to change torque converter. We had a 446-inch wedge motor in this car, and we had a slight malfunction with the rod coming out the side of it, and we wanted a Hemi in it really bad. So the only thing I found that winter in my price range happened to be a 605-inch Indy all aluminum Hemi motor. So that's what we ended up with in it. We're definitely putting more, or trying to put more power to it than we ever had before, even with nitrous. We've only touched the surface of the power that this thing's capable of making. We really want to start trying to get this thing faster for some heads up running. We run the Power Glide transmission, and we're going to change also from a set of stock planetaries to a set of 180 straight cuts this spring, hoping that maybe will calm it down a little bit. And then, like I said, we're going from a 8-inch converter, which was behind the wedge motor, and it was flashing like 6,200 with this motor only making it couldn't have been making 800 off the line if that. It was flashing way too high. If we started putting any more on it, it was just kept flashing the converter higher. So we got a 9.5 inch converter to put in it this year. We're going to change that out. Hopefully that'll take care of the flash problem. We can actually put power down different. So really hoping that helps all around as far as this thing getting traction in the mid-track area. And we've got nitrous, as you can see with the solenoids and stuff. We've got 2 plates on it. We're hoping to start being able to spray this thing at some point in time too, but until we can really put the timing back in it and get it the power that we've got right now, there ain't much sense in spraying anything. So what we've got in the rear is ladder bar, rear suspension. We've got an 8 3/4 rear end, which everybody will know that why in the hell is that in there, but as of right now, we have not broke it. It probably will break the next pass out, but anyway, as of right now, we have not broke that 8 3/4 rear end. Very surprising that it hasn't broke, but the car is really lightweight, so I think that helps a lot. We've got the Minsker dual adjustable shocks in the rear. Running a 10.5 inch tire on the back, 29.5 10.5 non-W tire. We running the MSD grid system on it as of right now. The car is filthy dirty, as you can see. It got run the last 2 years with really any kind of real good maintenance and cleaning on it. After we scattered the engine the year before, we had to spend most of the winter just getting the car back together and running, and then the COVID stuff hit and this and that, and it was just, time-wise, we run out of time. So we had to have headers built last year for the engine. We had to have the frame redone. Once again, Derek over at Bivens Race Cars got us hooked up on a new set of headers, moving the frame rails around, doing what we had to do to make this thing fit in there, and making it safe and solid. So we really appreciate all he's done to help us out here. Not as little stuff you wouldn't think would be a big deal, switching from a Hemi or a wedge to a Hemi, but it ended up being a huge pain in the butt. I can lift the car up here where we can kind of take a look at what we're doing here.
You should be prepared next time.
Maybe. We've got 4.5 inch exhaust. We've got 4 inch exhaust, I'm sorry. We put inserts in there for mufflers. It doesn't quiet it down a lot. We've not been able to do a whole lot of street driving with it since we put the Hemi in it anyway. So, but we would like to get this thing a little more streetable, because we did drive it a bunch with the wedge motor in it. As you can see up underneath here, it is very dirty again. We had several transmission in and outs last year with some transmission issues, so That didn't help cleanliness under here. We've got a few, looks like a pinion seal leaking a little bit on the rear end. But everything needs to be wiped off, cleaned up again. We had to make some brackets last year. We think we was twisting the housing. So we made some extra brackets, put them in here to help try to keep that ladder bar bracket from twisting on the housing. It seems like that took care of it. We got the aerospace calipers, as some of you might be able to see, and aerospace rotors with the strange calipers, because we had a brake issue a couple years ago where the aerospace was all sticking. We bought rebuild kits for them, couldn't get them apart, destroyed the calipers completely trying to get them apart, and everything was just stuck in there. There was no way of getting them without tearing them up. So once again, we go to Keith's house. We steal Keith's parts because he's got a brand new set of brakes for his Duster that happened to just bolt right on. So anyway, that's why that's like it is. And we've got the Powerglide transmission reed case, BTE converter in it right now. Little bitty guy, definitely needs some help. We normally have an engine diaper on this thing. We had an issue with the engine diaper collecting some water last year, and it caused us to hit the 60-foot timer. So we pulled it off that day, and it hasn't made it back on yet. So the only reason it's not on there. So we'll get the engine diaper back on hopefully this before we start racing this year. And as you can see, everything's a really tight fit on this car. Trying to get everything crammed into this little tight space. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get this other side cut apart, get the shock on there. You can see the grill shell where it took a massive hit into the 60-foot timer. So, and we had to piece that all back together last year. And but anyway, we'll get off here for now, and I'll show you what we got going on with updates on how we're gonna put the new brackets in, and have to change headlight bracket and all that stuff to make these longer shocks work. But I think it's going to be well worth the effort to put these on there. As of right now, we got Lane over here polishing wheels, and we got brand new tires sitting there ready for it. We're going to go to a radial tire this year and put the Mickey Thompson radial front tires on it. So we need to get that done this week, and just a lot of little things, but we'll get her going here. So here we go. I wouldn't worry about that little burn mark right there. These blankets, Harbor Freight specials. You usually can get them on sale for like $5 or $7. Stock up. They work great. While I'm tightening all this up, Race and Lane there was polishing wheels, and they come upon a new invention themselves. I think Race is the lazy one to come up with it, but anyway, they was polishing wheels, and they was working off the floor, but they decided to take these nice Harbor Freight stools and put the wheel on, which works. Fits on there really well, and they just spun it and sit there and polished, which is at a really good height. Everything to get that. So, and then actually the front wheel fit really good too. And they got it on there. So there we go. Wheels polished, ready to go back on. We've just got the brackets tacked on the bottom down here. It's enough where the suspension will hold it, but this is a chrome moly roll cage and everything. The chassis itself is not. It's just 2x3 regular rectangle tubing, but all that has to be TIG welded on. So we'll have to take it either to Keith's house and TIG it, or bring my TIG out here. So most likely we'll take it to his place and be easier in moving the TIG machine. And I got a couple gussets I want to put in here to help this from bending back and forth. But anyway, I think that that's going to be very helpful this racing season to have that longer shock and travel on this thing. I think I may end up having to put some limiters on this. So I may get that ordered and go ahead and have them ready to go on, and put the suspension limiters on it. That way I have another adjustability at the track. If I don't need it to come up very high, I can tie it down that way too. These are dual adjustable shocks, which I can tie it down, but they will keep expanding, where if you had a limiter on it, they won't. They'll stop at wherever you set it. So this was another thing while we was working there. The grinder was getting really close to my brake line and throwing sparks, plus I was getting really close to actually hitting the brake line. So we made these little rubber hose covers there to cover that up and keep from throwing any sparks on it or accidentally nicking the brake line. So don't have to worry about that being an issue as you're trying to stop later in the year. So anyway, got the wheels polished, pretty happy with that. We'll get the tires changed out later this week. We got the front suspension tacked in. It'll go, we can actually roll it around with what we got on there. We can finish welding it up, and once I get done gusseting and everything, I can tie the headlights back on it and get the headlights remounted. That way they don't rattle off there, which hopefully will help them out, because these headlights are been floppy from day one. But I really like the 10-inch headlight on it instead of the small ones. So anyway, I think we're gonna get off here now, go get us lunch, and oh yeah, another thing I want to talk about is I'm just trying it, don't know how well it's going to work yet, but it's something I have seen. It's called Sweet Patina. As you can see, we got rust all over the frame. It was meant to be that way. I clear coated it after it had some of the rust on it, and obviously the clear coat did not hold up on it. I don't know what happened there, but it just went ahead and went right through it. So this stuff here is made to basically preserve the patina that you have. So I'm used it on just the 2 front frame rail ends. So far, pretty happy with the way it turned out. They said I could put other coats on there, which we may try and just see what it looks like as we go, but we might get you some more pictures of that stuff. They are not sponsoring this, by the way, so just something that we come upon and we're trying with other things that we're doing. So that's one of the products. The bushes aluminum polish is what we used on the wheels, which the wheels were really bad shape, but highly recommend the Bush's aluminum polish. We've had really good luck over the years with it. I've never found anything that works as fast or good as what that stuff does for aluminum. I've tried their stainless steel stuff. I wasn't near as pleased with it as what I am with the aluminum polish. So anyway, that's some other products that we used here today. Not sponsored again, but we'll hop off here, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be pulling the transmission out of it, and we'll get that on the ground and have that ready to go for. So we'll have the transmission getting out on the ground now that Ray stopped us early and bring us back on, but we'll have it ready for rebuild. We're going to take it, have the new planetaries put in. We're going to check everything else out while it's out, and then change converter. So we're going to get out of here. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we're out.